Thank you, Ceann Comhairle. Taoiseach, there is growing unease amongst us all in relation to how COVID is being managed in Northern Ireland. Dr. Gabriel Scally, who we all know well, said when it came to COVID, if Northern Ireland was a football team, they'd be in the relegation zone, and the directors would be bringing in a new manager and coaching team. It's deeply concerning to see ambulances being parked outside hospitals in rows and people being treated in those circumstances where the engines are being left running. The NHS are at breaking point, and certainly we have seen a situation which we've never seen before with the scale of where the crisis is at in Northern Ireland. And I'm deeply concerned about how the executive there, made up of Sinn Féin and the DUP, are actually dealing with this issue, because it has consequences for us all in the rest of this island. Instead of playing politics, trying to be on both sides of many arguments, bickering, dithering, maybe now we have reached a point where our government in this jurisdiction needs to say very clearly that the capacity of the executive and the way in which they're dealing with this crisis isn't working, and it's having a huge consequence on the rest of us on this island. If you look at the infection rates at the moment, in Northern Ireland it's 4 times the rate of what it is in the south. If you look at the numbers, the difference in infection rates is alarming. In the counties of Cork and Kerry, we have a 14-day incident rate of 25 and 30. In Northern Ireland, the local districts of Antrim, Newtown Abbey, Mid and East Antrim, Causeway Coast, Glens and Mid-Ulster all have 14-day incident rates of 300 in recent days, and in Mid and East Antrim the figure is over 500. So the people of the north have been let down. But the knock-on effect in relation to our border areas and further afield, the 14-day incident rate in Donegal is the highest in the state at 225. In Louth, where my colleague Jed Nash has made serious representations as regards the issues there, it's at 175, and in Cavan Monaghan they're both over 100. So Taoiseach, we need action, and we need our government, through yourself, to make it very clear to the executive, who haven't got experience in making hard decisions, that they are going to have to change tact, and quickly. So I would ask you to do so, and I would ask you to do the following: express your solidarity and that of all of the people in this jurisdiction with the workers in Northern Ireland and the people in Northern Ireland who are trying to deal with this issue. But also express your deep unease at the strategy being imposed by the Sinn Féin DUP executive in Northern Ireland, and that from our jurisdiction's point of view, this is going to have very negative consequences, and to also offer whatever help, if that is possible, from our jurisdiction to help them.
Thank you,
Deputy. Please do that.
Taoiseach.
First of all, I would agree with the Deputy that the situation in Northern Ireland is very, very worrying and very concerning. And indeed, across Europe, it is worrying and it is concerning, particularly if you look at what Holland yesterday closing down before Christmas, Germany likewise. And the positivity rate in Northern Ireland is what, 9%. I'm not clear that their testing would ever have been at the same level as our testing would have been at. And the numbers have been worrying for quite some time because there are significant issues now in the emergency departments, and that may manifest itself in another week or 10 days in terms of beds. So I think it's important just to say that we are in solidarity with the people of Northern Ireland who are going through a very difficult time right now. And we will be, there's a North-South ministerial meeting on Friday, which will be virtual now because of the COVID circumstances. And we will work with our colleagues on the Northern Ireland Executive to see, any assistance we can be is of course, will always be there. And there has been ongoing contact between the clinicians on both sides of the two health systems, and I think Minister Swan will be bringing proposals to the executive, is my understanding. I think he has led well throughout this crisis. He's had a challenging situation. It's a multi-party executive, like a three-party government here, so that does create its own challenges. But suffice to say that what it also illustrates is the exponential growth of this virus once it gets to a certain critical level. And we in the Republic need to take note of what's happening in the North as well, in terms of how we behave as individuals and collectively. We should wear masks in crowded indoor situations or indoor, and also in crowded outdoor situations. Social distancing is still as important as ever. Washing our hands, proper etiquette, because we're now moving into a situation after next Friday where the people will be allowed to go home. People will want to meet their grandparents and their parents. To enable people to do that safely, all of our behaviour from now on matters. Every contact matters. And once you get to a certain level, the virus transmits very quickly thereafter and grows exponentially. We have a strong testing capacity, but nonetheless we must be very vigilant now because what we're witnessing in Northern Ireland could happen here if we allow things to go out of control, which we're not going to do. And we've had a severe period of restrictions for 6 weeks. And we've been in the unusual situation when I was at the European Union Council last week, where I was meeting Prime Minister after Prime Minister who was shutting down and bringing more restrictions in. And we were saying we have partially reopened because of that 6-week restriction. But I do take on board very seriously what the Deputy has said. It is a matter of grave concern. And particularly, if I just may say, the border counties is a worry for us. The numbers are higher on our borders counties than the rest of the country. And we're looking at how we can provide greater supports and protection and whatever measures we have to take in relation to the border counties.
Thank you, Taoiseach. Deputy Kelly.
Thank you, Taoiseach. I'm aware it's a multi-party executive. I'm also aware you have a North-South Ministerial Council coming up, hence the reason I raised it. I think the whole of Ireland was shocked when they saw the pictures last night. It reminded them of times in the past where we had to send up our fire service to help out at various different intervals in our history. But we need a number of things, Taoiseach. You need to make it very clear to this executive that from a performance point of view, they need to be doing much more. They need to make hard decisions in the next 24 hours, 48 hours. Because the impact is not just there, it's going to be here across all our border counties and further afield. So please do that. And you might offer what form of assistance you're thinking of in relation to helping them. Also, what additional measures or help we can give to our border areas to help those areas. And finally, have we a plan, because it is referenced in the rollout that was announced yesterday, have we a plan to ensure that once vaccinations start, and hopefully they'll start in this jurisdiction before the new year, but have we a plan to ensure that we have a coordinated approach across both jurisdictions as regards how we're going to ensure there's consistency in rollout to be able to help those border areas in particular?
Well, first of all, we will be in discussions obviously with the executive, and we'll discuss the COVID situation on Friday. I think there are political sensitivities here, and one must always be mindful that I think whatever initiatives the Northern Ireland executive takes, the Northern Ireland executive has to be the original, it's their initiative, they have to own it, and they have to be comfortable themselves in bringing such initiatives forward, if that even means further restrictions. It is to be regretted that we didn't have complete alignment in terms of restrictions over the last number of months, but that is as it is. And so I'm very mindful of the fact that the Northern Ireland executive is responsible. It will have to deal with the situation as it presents itself to them, and the advice that they get from their Chief Medical Officer and from the Minister for Health in Northern Ireland. What I want to say here as well is that from a government point of view, we will be meeting weekly to keep an eye on the situation. NEFIT will be meeting weekly. Our officials will be meeting weekly to keep a constant monitoring and evaluation of our situation, but also in tandem with what is happening in Northern Ireland. And I think your point is well made in relation to alignment, particularly in the border counties on both sides. I think clearly the evidence is there that there are particular pressures because of the high incidence rate in the north. But we want to work in solidarity.
Thank you, Taoiseach.
Very often, if you come at it from externally, trying to say to people, here's how you should do things, you get a very quick response.
Thank you,
so
Taoiseach.
I don't advise that. But we will work in solidarity, and any help, of course, that we can give, we will give.